You know those movies that you, of course, remember the iconic lines, the soundtracks, but even more so, you can fully recall the memory of what the DVD title screen sounds like? From the song to the shots that are chosen to the replay, the specific point in the song where it stops and then restarts the menu screen over again. Most notably when you're at a sleepover and you're either the last one up or the first one awake and the TV's still on from the night before. I have a few of those. One of those, though, is the rom-com Stuck in Love. This movie is a comfort movie to me. It's also so stuck in 2012. It's like almost a perfect time capsule. The soundtrack to the clothes to just the overall vibes of the movie. This will always be one of my favorite rom-coms for that reason. It's totally a comfort movie to me. The movie has gotten me out of many depressions in my life. It has a hot cast, so those are all the correct ingredients that you want to have when you're choosing an iconic rom-com to watch or make. So I want to talk about that today. Normally my content will be horror based because that's primarily what I watch. I'm not a big comedy girl. I love comedies, like I love all movies, but if I'm going to rewatch a movie, I either want to be scared or sad. Those are my two criterias. Probably because I'm just so funny, so I don't really need the movie to bring out that emotion. It's kind of just naturally always there. One of those rom-coms that holds a special place in my heart, right up there with When Harry Met Sally. Rest in peace to Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. It's a terrible tragedy. I'm not even going to begin to talk about it, but that honestly is an example of a perfect movie, rom-com or not. But this gives me that same good sad feeling, but also I get the happy ending, so I feel resolved. Watch a sad movie and then it's kind of either there's no release of the sadness or something even worse happens at the end, and then you're like kind of left after the movie being like, wow, what a bummer. So I really love movies like When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail. Those are great examples of movies that rip your heart out, and then at the end they take you into surgery, put it back in, tie it up with a bow. I'll cry at like anything. Like I'll cry at sad movies, I'll cry, this is like the film nerd in me, but I'll cry like if I think a shot is really beautiful. Like I cried at the end of Nosferatu because that ending shot was so stunningly gorgeous that I like couldn't even believe what I was seeing. Not for her husband losing his wife to Nosferatu or anything. It was just because of how pretty it looked. The opening line, I remember that it hurt. Looking at her hurt. I think like I was Kate to a few boys in my high school, so I think that's also why I resonate with this movie. I'm deeply sorry because she is not a healed, healthy character. Dad, who's played by the fabulous Greg Kinnear, says that, because the whole premise of the movie, for anyone that hasn't seen it, is that it's a family of writers and they're all kind of going through different versions of relationships and also working on their family dynamic at the same time. It's like a whole movie about love, Stuck in Love. He says it to Rusty. He says, because he's reading Rusty's journal, which you're not supposed to do that, Dad, but he says like, I was flipping through your journal to make sure that you wrote in it, because they get an allowance for writing in their journal since their dad's a writer. And he's like, I couldn't look away once I saw that opening line. I was hooked. Like, that's all it takes a reader to be hooked. And I think it's cool that the director chose to have that same opening line open the movie, because then it also hooks the viewer in. Baby Glenn Powell's in this movie, very briefly, playing a douchebag, which, yeah. Always confused this movie with the last song in my head, because I'm pretty sure the last song came out in 2009. This movie came out in 2012. And Greg Kinnear plays two dads that get to live in a gorgeous house on the beach. So I don't know why he's allowed to keep getting away with that, but we should probably look into that. Both great movies, though. The last song, I Will Be a Miley Girl Until My Last Breath. The soundtrack in this movie is actually the main reason why I wanted to talk about this movie. I love soundtracks. I'm pretty sure in my Jennifer's Body video I talked about that being a perfect soundtrack, Juno being a perfect soundtrack, and this is another one where I just rewatched this movie for this video, and I hadn't watched this movie probably in 3 years. And sometimes, like, when I'm going for a drive or cleaning, like, I will go out of my way to look up this movie soundtrack and play it just because that's how good it is. It introduced me to one of my favorite artists of all time, my beloved Elliott Smith. I cannot even believe that I didn't listen to him before 2012, but when I heard Between the Bars, I'm pretty sure my head exploded. Scene, like, permanently attached itself to my being when he's playing the song for her in the car, Logan Lerman. On a letterboxd review that said I would cry too if Logan Lerman played Elliott Smith for me in the rain, and I agree. One of my favorite facts about this movie is that the iconic cameo scene when Rusty gets a call from his hero, Stephen King. I always thought, like, when I first watched the movie, I was like, wow, that's a really good voice actor, because if you know Stephen King has the most recognizable voice. Like, it's just him. Look into it, and it's actually Stephen King, and the director got him in a recording studio just to do the audio of him calling Rusty. But there's actually a more sentimental reason for this being in the movie, which is that when the director was like a young boy, he wrote a fan letter to Stephen King because he was such a big fan of him, and he wrote him back, and he said it like completely changed his life to hear from his hero. So I think it's really cool and a really awesome full circle moment for the director to get to emulate that in this movie, and also meet Stephen King and tell him about this story and have him be a part of it. I don't know, it just made me love that scene and this movie even more. I thought that was really special. Time period, how many movies do you know that reference Just Dance? I mean, in high school, I was playing that day and night. I was actually playing, me and my best friend were obsessed with the Michael Jackson Experience, Just Dance, but I always laugh when I see that scene in this movie because it's just, it feels so nostalgic, and it's such a good reminder of that time period. Ending will always get me. I don't care if I watched the movie yesterday, I watched it again today, I'm gonna cry at this ending. I think it's a really good message of, like, it may sound obvious and simple, but how the dad always sets a place setting for the mom, and the mom insinuates that that's why the daughter hates her, and the daughter says her line of, like, if setting the table, if love is setting the table for someone that never comes, like, I'm good. I think I'll pass. That's what she says. Spoiler, if you haven't watched this movie from 2012, the ending when he finally removes the place setting and then she comes. It's just like such a good reminder that I feel like is hard to think about in the moment with anything in life, but when you finally let go and release yourself from the outcome, that's when things happen. Annoying but true. Sound design of Rusty's steps going to get the dad, and then you hear the dad walking back to the door to answer it because the mom wanted him to be the one that opened it. That iconic line from the book that he references, that he could hear everyone's heart beating even when the room went dark, and then the movie cutting to black and the room goes dark, and then you're just left with the credits and you can cry. Stuck in Love. I know this is a little different from my other videos so far, but Stuck in Love, please watch it if you grew up in that time period at all, specifically if you were in high school in 2012. It'll just feel like a warm hug from that time. In the next video, I will be returning. Sorry, my cat is like eating this plant. You're a bad boy. Next video, I will be going back to more horror themed content. I'm really excited. I'm going to an early screening next week for the new Netflix series, Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen. I am so excited for this show, and the creator, Haley Z. Boston, and Adam DeMarco, and Camila Monroe, I'm so sorry, are all going to be there for a Q&A. We get a sneak peek of the first episode, so I'm really excited. I will post maybe like a mini video, of course with no spoilers, but I'm really excited to see it. I will be back with the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.